We're going now to the Azteca Stadium, where, of course, the opening ceremony is taking place before tonight's first match, Italy against Bulgaria. And we can now join Barry Davies.
The carnival began here last evening when they were singing and dancing in the streets of the city, and it's being continued here in the Azteca Stadium on a warm, slightly hazy morning, and the crowd are looking at the parade of the 24 teams. And not, of course, looking at the players who will take part, but at school youngsters who, for one day in their lives, wear the colours of the countries. Interspersed with this, there are pictures of Mexico. We're looking at the beaches. We saw Zihuatanejo just a moment ago, which is a little north of Acapulco, and there the pyramids near where the Scots will stay. A marvellous country of 75 million people, and that is just taking into consideration those who have official birth certificates, and that's by no means all. And 18 million of those are, 18 million of the 75 million are in the capital here, and this is the capital stadium. And now another pastime of Mexico. We're looking in a bull ring, and indeed the Azteca Stadium has something of the feel of a bull ring about it in its style of architecture. Moving on to the blowing of glass, which is something that many visitors go away with. And Mexico in this opening clearly selling itself to the world, the basket making, the china and the football. Flag of England are going past down below me and getting good applause from those immediately adjacent to them. And indeed, you may be able to hear the cry of England, England, away to my right. It's thought that there are some 3,000 supporters who've come out to follow Bobby Robson's men. Flag bearers all lining up in the centre to await the later speeches and the official opening of the World Cup. The scene on the Paseo de Reforma, the main artery of this city, was something to behold last evening. Even before the tournament started, there were chants everywhere of Mexico, Mexico. They were dancing, they were climbing the angel statue. It was all wonderfully good-natured and exuberant. Two cadets on either side. On the left, the naval cadet from the Naval Academy at Veracruz, and on the right, the cadet from the military college on the outskirts of Mexico City on the road to Cuernavaca. The youngsters continue their march round, the girls remaining with the flags. And here, traditional costumes and flags from the 31 states of this country. There are 31 plus the federal state of Mexico City. And the pictures being watched on television sets in 142 countries. 24 of them represented here in the finals. from an original entry of 123, although just 118 started. These are the flag wavers from Italy, the Calcio Fiorentina, who earlier gave a demonstration of their art. And all who took part in the earlier proceedings are now joining the festivities. The Azteca Stadium bedecked in the flags of the world, with streamers and with what they call here pinata. They look a little bit like octopuses, and they are part of a children's game. Usually the children are blindfolded and they hit these things. You can just see them at the top of the picture, and out of them, if they make a good contact, fall sweets. But on this occasion, they're to remain in this stadium, which holds 110,000 people and was built from volcanic rock. Inaugurated by Gustavo Díaz Ordaz, the then president, in May 1966. And his later successor, Miguel de la Madrid, will later open the 13th World Cup. When one thinks that these pictures are being watched by some of the victims of the earthquake, television sets in the corner of tents, one thinks of a different image. But the exuberance with which this parade is being greeted suggests that, for a moment at least, the fact that the World Cup has come to Mexico gives the people of Mexico cause for enjoyment. Enormous pressure on their own team, as Desmond Lydham said. Have been training for a year. There's been no league football in this country in that time. Great care is being taken that the parade should be around the outside of the pitch. "14 countries from Europe, 4 from South America, 2 from Asia, 2 from Africa, and 2 from Central and North America." Mexico 88, Mexico 86. And perhaps I should try and get my Spanish right. 86, I should have said. Stadium, a mass of flags. FIFA flag there in the center, which led the parade. And a wave of all the flags together like a tide. There is one of the pinata I was telling you about. And the flags of all the nations. And confetti falls from the roof. And all colours drop upon us in the commentary positions. And fittingly, the colours of Mexico fell on ours. A little reminiscent of Argentina in 1978. A ceremony that perhaps was not the best organised in the world, but certainly was full of warmth. Which maybe is in keeping with the character of the people.
Que serán los protagonistas del partido número 1 del Mundial. Un aplauso para recibirlos. Bulgaria e Italia.
It's like looking through one of those things that one had as a child, looking at the pattern of the colours. Pieces of red and silver and mauve and green and blue and every colour of the rainbow fluttering around the Azteca Stadium. And we are awaiting the two competing teams of the opening contest of this 13th World Cup. All the previous winners are represented here. Italy and Brazil, who won it 3 times, Uruguay and Germany, who have each won it twice, Argentina and England.
Los equipos de Bulgaria e Italia, que iniciarán brillantemente este campeonato del mundo México
24 who have arrived as a result of 308 qualifying matches. The first back in May 1984, in which Austria beat Cyprus 2-1. Neither country made it to the finals, although we have 3 new countries represented: Canada, Denmark and Iraq. And having a little bit copied Argentina 78, there's now a copying of the Los Angeles Olympics, with the crowd standing up to produce a wave. And the players of Bulgaria and Italy seemingly a little reluctant to make their way onto the pitch. Well, they will be required to stand for an awful long time. Among the crowd are all the representatives of the Mexican team. They're sitting in the president's box. And yesterday were presented with the Mexican flag as a sign of hope and the expectation of their nation. It's a remarkable scene, a little over 8 months after the tragedy of the earthquake. One or two of the players from Italy and Bulgaria are making their way out onto the pitch. One or two of the reserves came first, and now the 2 starting lineups. Italy on the near side as we look. And in their starting lineup will be 5 players who won the World Cup at the Bernabeu Stadium 4 years ago. Incidentally, 4 of the original 7 members of FIFA are represented in this tournament: France, Belgium, Denmark and Spain. The missing are the Dutch, the Swiss and the Swedes, although the opening match here will be refereed by a Swede, Erik Fredriksson. So as the teams line up, there will be a number of speeches to follow before the official opening by the President of Mexico.